Oh my God, how I love thee, how I love thee, how I love thee. Oh my God, how I love thee, how I love thee, my God.
And it is in love that we begin this service today, opening our minds and hearts and surrendering into this now moment, that we might reveal something special and wonderful as a result of our connection today. I know that this service is a gift and a blessing, and that each person who comes here receives some kind of information or insight that creates greater harmony, peace, love, and joy throughout the life experience. I know in this moment that the music that's shared, the support staff that are doing all the work behind the scenes, all of it is coming together in divine grace. I'm grateful for this time together. I'm grateful for the glory of God made manifest right here and now through each one of us. And so we begin in consciousness, filled with love and light, and knowing that all is well. I let this be the truth.
God, 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 how I love thee, how I love thee, how I love thee. God, 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 how I love thee, how I love thee, my God.
And so it is.
Good morning. My name is Philomena Shaka, and I welcome you to our Sunday spiritual experience. We are Verity Centre for Better Living, a new thought teaching ministry, a member of the Universal Foundation for Better Living, Namaskar. If you are joining us for the first time, it is my pleasure to greet you on behalf of the minister and our members. It is my hope that something said or done today will make a positive difference in your life. Please know that we accept you, respect you, and appreciate you. If you have any questions or you need to find out more about the center, please visit our website, www.veritycentre.org, and subscribe. And also like our Facebook page. We thank you for spending this time with us. Our vision is creating and maintaining a spiritually based community that facilitates enlightenment, enrichment, and empowerment. Our mission is offering spiritually based principles and techniques to those who are seeking to live healthier, happier, and more prosperous lives. Our motto is always verifying the truth, vivifying the spirit, and vitalizing the soul. We offer a full range of sacerdotal services, classes, and spiritual coaching. There are also opportunities to be an active part of this community. Please refer to our website for more information. Please affirm the opening statement with me. It is on your screen. To desire is to expect is to achieve, believe it, and achieve it. If you have your daily inspiration publication with you, please turn to the page after the center page or follow on your screen. I will be reading the last core beliefs. We believe that rather than devoting our primary efforts to providing for the needy of the world, the time has come to make available to all people everywhere a teaching that will enable them to provide for themselves by learning to release the divine potential within them. We believe that the Universal Foundation for Better Living is a vehicle for the spreading of such a teaching. We believe that a mighty new wind is blowing. People everywhere are hungry for practical techniques that will show them how to fulfill the good desires of their hearts. We in the UFBL believe that we have techniques and we offer them to everyone without distinction, confident that with the help of the Holy Spirit, we can teach all who are willing to learn how to overcome whatever would keep them from their highest good. Today's inspirational reading can be found on page 28, and it will be read by Krishna Dewan Cobb of the Sunday School.
Exercise forgiveness. The process of forgiveness is reminiscent of breathing. Forgiveness is as vital a function of life as breathing. When we exhale, we release a waste product. When we forgive, we exhale toxic feelings and beliefs. Inhaling fills our lungs with life-sustaining oxygen. Forgiving fills our mind with love and compassion. Breathing is also our body's chief cleansing tool. Denials are our consciousness cleansing tools that we can use to erase erroneous beliefs that have kept us in a state of unforgiveness. Together with affirmations, they help shift the pattern of our thinking, so we align with the mind of God. When we truly understand the value and power of forgiveness, we will exercise it deliberately to cleanse anger, resentment, and old hurts from our emotional body consciousness. God gave us the power to forgive. So, tonight, go to sleep as though your whole past has been dropped. Die to the past, and in the morning, wake up as a new person in a new morning. Osho. The scriptural text is taken from Colossians chapter 3, verse 13. Don't be angry with each other, but forgive each other. If you feel someone has wronged you, forgive them. And so it is.
Thank you, Krishna. Please listen to the announcements. Daily meditation and the Wednesday evening breakaways continue. To receive the links or phone in information, please send an email to admin@veritycentre.org or leave a message at 416-240-1956. Our Sunday School is joining a special forum with other youth in the UFBL this afternoon at 1 p.m. Please note in August, the kids will be on a summer break, Thank you to the parents, and a special thank you to the teachers for their leadership and guidance. We love and appreciate you. See you in September. Summer classes are in session. Wednesdays at 1 p.m. is Living the Spiritual Ideal. Saturdays at 1 p.m., A Life in Prayer Part 2. There is no registration fee for these two classes. Thursday at 7 p.m., Basic Truth Principles 2. The book is Lessons in Truth by H. Emily Caddy. Monday at 6 p.m., The Game of Life by Florence Scovel-Shin. The registration fee for Monday and Thursday is $20 per class. For more information, please contact the office. Verity Vibes' first Zoom Games Night on Friday was fun and very entertaining. There was bingo with prizes, music, sporadic singing, seated dancing, flag waving, comic relief, and endless laughter. There were also some Caravana costumes that were cited. Thank you to Tracy Reese, Renee Richards, Sheldon Edwards, and the other Verity Vibe members. A special thank you to the 15 attendees who made it an enjoyable evening. If you would like to submit photos, please do so at verityvibe1@gmail.com, and you will be featured in the art gallery during fellowship. Adult Summer Stretch and Strengthen is here. July 20th to July 31st, Monday to Friday, 2 sessions each day. Early risers at 6:15 a.m. Mobile participants, a mat is required as floor work is involved. Morning flow at 8:30 a.m. Participants with limited mobility, a chair is required. Please contact verityvibe1@gmail.com for the registration link. Join the vibe. Let us prepare for a moment of conscious communion with our source and supply.
There's a sweet, sweet spirit in this place, and I know that it's the spirit of love. And so we begin in consciousness, surrendering this day and this moment into the Divine One, that we might show up in a way that is powerful and creative, that we might open our minds to a place of infinite possibility, knowing that if I can see it within my mind's eye and believe that it's possible, it will be my reality. I will create it. The desires I hold in mind, the desires that I have for an expanded consciousness of life and living has already been provided for. I am an heir to the kingdom. God has already promised the bounty, the beauty, the grace, the goodness of all good right here in this now moment. So I shift my energy, I shift my perspective, and I allow myself to open my mind to a new idea, a bigger idea. And as I do that, I begin to receive, to experience, and to allow more and more good into my life. This universe is bountiful. The abundance is everywhere. And in this moment, I open my mind that I might receive that bounty right here. As each one of us does this, there is an awakening that happens, there's an expanding of consciousness, and there are gifts and blessings that go beyond anything we had previously imagined. I am teachable, I am open. And as I willingly allow this to be my truth, I let go of my know-it-all attitude, and I surrender instead into that place of oneness with God, where I truly know that God is all-powerful, all-knowing, and everywhere present. With that in mind, I begin this day discovering new things, awakening to a bigger vision, and allowing life to express. This journey is one of love and laughter, peace and joy, and it is my choice as to how I look at it and what I'm willing to receive in each giving moment. This day is a gift and a blessing, and I am truly, truly grateful for it. Filling us with your love, and for these blessings And so it is.
The thought for the week is by Raymond Hollowell. Let us realize that the material world in which we live is a sphere of, and that behind the world of causes. Then recognize in the sphere of causes. Then recognize that when you desire any particular effect, this desire is an appearance of an underlying cause. We will now have a musical selection by Marita McMillan. Today's lesson, Bountiful Spirit, will be given by the Reverend Barbara Schreiner Trudell.
Thank you, Philo. You're so radiant this morning. I'll tell you, what a beautiful face and a great smile. It's so nice to be able to see each other. So anybody who doesn't have their camera on, turn it on. Let us see you in your jammies. It's okay. It's wonderful to just get together and be able to see each other's faces and to smile and to gather together. Well, the idea today is all around the bounty of the universe, because sometimes we look around us and we think there's limitations. We think there's lots of lack, that there just isn't enough to go around. And the truth is that there is everything we need, all that is necessary for our life and experience. There is enough. And so why is it that sometimes we don't receive our share, or we don't believe we're receiving enough, or we look around us and we see others who are not receiving enough, and we wonder how that happens? And we have to go back to the idea of the spiritual laws of the universe, how they operate and work. And what we know is that if we break a law, we will be subject to the result of that. So when we think about the law of supply, we want to remember that there is enough, that all that we have need of is there. He says in the book that the law of our being is perpetual increase, progress, and growth. So when one good is realized, another desire for a greater good will develop. So you know how that happens, right? You have a dream or desire and you manifest that, and then all of a sudden there's another one that pops in and you begin working toward that. We're always moving forward. We're always moving upward. And when we're not, there's this stagnation that happens, or this feeling that, there isn't enough going on. So we want to remember that the law of growth is constant and continuous, and that as we move forward, we will continually get new ideas and new ways to expand. He says in here, we believe, therefore, it is right and good for us to seek to gratify all desires and ambitions. Sometimes we go through life and think that, we shouldn't desire so much, or we shouldn't have so much ambition, that we should settle for a little bit less. But that's an idea in lack. And that's one that, has been fairly common for many of us. And what we want to do is shift that and change that, seeing that the universe is abundant in all things. He says in here that God is our supply. So the minute we sit back and go, well, there isn't enough, or there won't be enough, or somehow I'm less than, what we're doing is we're sort of turning our back on God, going, well, you can't meet my need. And we're allowing ourselves to settle for something less than what we truly desire. The idea of enough is kind of a limitation in and of itself. Imagine for a moment that in every moment we can expand. In every moment we can do something bigger and greater. In every moment we can expect God to support and sustain us in grand style, constantly and continuously. And if you think about it, look at the food shortage in the world. Why is there a food shortage? There is no shortage of food. There is a problem with distribution. There is a problem with sharing. There are some who want to hang on to every little thing they have, and others who are doing without. There is enough. We have to find a way to begin to share in a way, and to open our minds and hearts, so that we see that every single one of us needs to succeed in order for any of us to succeed. It has to be all. So we move into that idea of abundance. He talks a little bit about believing and seeing, right? If you believe it, you will see it. But we've got it backwards, right? We sit back and think, well, I'll believe it once I see it. The reality is that that's not how it works. We have to come to an idea in mind. I was watching a movie yesterday that was quite interesting about a football player in Arkansas, young kid, really didn't have much in the way of talent, wanted to play football really bad, and wanted to play for a certain college team, but didn't have the talent, the skill, didn't have the money to go to college to play with this team, wasn't going to get a scholarship because his marks weren't good enough. And so it seemed like everything was against him. But in his mind, he decided at age, 9 or 10 years old, I am going to play for this team, period. That was his vision. And everybody around him is looking at him like, that's not likely going to happen. And even when he went and, his mom put a second mortgage on the house so that she could pay for his first year of university. When he went to that college, he went, and what they called is a walk-on. So it's somebody who wants to try out for the football team. They know they're not going to get to play. They know they're not going to get to stay. And somehow this kid walks on and becomes one of the greatest heroes ever in Arkansas college football. The idea in mind was so big and his desire so strong that he got up every single day and went above and beyond to ensure that he was able to get where he wanted to go. And he ended up getting a master's degree through that university. So the ideas that we hold in mind, especially the ones that we think, you know, there's no way I can do that. There's no, or somebody else is telling us there's no way we can do it. What we want to remember is through God, all things are possible. And like Einstein said, if at first the idea is not absurd, there truly is no hope for it. He says, now this is really, really important. We have to remember this. Science has long since refuted this idea of magic to be, except when it is done through some trick in chemistry. So he says, nothing can ever become something, nor can something ever become nothing. Substance can be converted, transmuted, and changed in a million ways, but it can never be destroyed. Okay, you got that? Nothing can ever become something, and something can never become nothing. So everything that we desire already exists. We need open up to receive it. He talks about a tree. You know, you plant an acorn in the ground and a tree is going to grow. And at some point in time, that tree is going to come to the end of its life. It's going to die. It's going to, decompose, go back into the soil, and it's going to create some kind of, it's going to create more food or substance in that soil so that the next thing that grows comes out of it again. So the tree never ceased to exist. It merely transformed its experience to become the food of the soil for the next big tree, and so on and so forth. The name of the author in this book is Raymond Hollowell, and the name of the book is Working with the Law. So the idea that everything that we desire, every single thing that we desire already exists. So what we want to do is move our consciousness into a place of receptivity so that we can begin to receive that good. So we can begin to receive what it is we're talking about. Now, this book's been around for a while, and he talks about automobiles. You know, the ability to create an automobile was always there, right? It was always there. However, until the need was there that somebody decided, I want to be able to move faster, to cover more distance easier, there was no need to create it, right? But in the moment that there was an idea of a greater need, that's when a car got created, right? Computers, you know, we used to use typewriters. And, you know, that worked out really, really well for a time. Pardon me. And then there was this, how can we do things faster, quicker? And our minds expanded yet again. The same thing with flight. You know, we fly all over the place. Well, maybe not this month, but normally we fly all over the place, right? We can get anywhere very, very quickly. But the reality is that until there was kind of a need for that or a desire for that, it didn't happen. But once the desire was there, the way to make it happen was realized, okay? And we figured out how to do it. But the idea of flight, what would create an airplane, the law of aerodynamics, all of that already existed. Electricity. You know, when you take a look at, we can turn on a light bulb, or we can cook our dinner, we can heat our home with this thing called electricity. And nowadays we can power our cars with it. So electricity has always existed, always existed. When we discovered the need to harness that energy, that's when somehow we figured it out. We figured out how to use this and how to work within the laws that govern the movement of energy so that we could create that. So we look at our life all around us and we recognize that whatever I have need of already exists. Everything that I can imagine already exists here and now. Am I willing to open my mind to a place of receptivity? Am I willing to be that conduit Evan talks about the conduit, right? That energy that flows and moves between us and that universal consciousness. Am I a conduit that's open and receptive and allowing the energy to flow, or am I blocked and stopped, right? When we recognize that there is sufficient of everything, right? There is enough of everything to create harmony, health, wellness, prosperity for every single individual on the planet, not sometime, but right here and now. And the only thing we need to do is change our mind. In the moment that we do that, we begin to find ways to create, to expand, and to have something else come forward. He says our mind is like a magnet which draws unto itself its own like type and kind. So when you think about a magnet, it's going to draw. So that's what we are. We're a drawing force. That as we allow ourselves to open up our minds, as we allow ourselves to have that big dream or even to visualize it, right? Like this kid in the movie, The Greatest, he had a dream. He had a dream to play football for a particular college. And although everybody said it ain't never going to happen, he made it happen because he was single focused, right? His idea was, this is what I'm doing. And I don't care what anybody says. Now, he was a very spiritual young man. He believed in God, and he knew that there was a way to do this. He didn't know what it was yet, but he found it. And through discipline and everything, he was able to create that. The idea of abundant supply, you know, he shares a story in the book about a farmer who's, you know, getting a living off farming. And he's, getting by. He's not prospering greatly, but he's able to put food on the table, and he's getting by. And one day he notices, like, he's got a pond there, water flowing through his property, but it's always got scum on it. And so it's not drinkable or anything. And he noticed some people walking on his property, and they scooped up some of that water, and they were smelling it and tasting it. And he was like, oh, who would ever do that? And then a short time later, they came back and offered him a really substantial amount of money for his property. He was thrilled. He thought, man, you're never going to make that money back as farmers. But they weren't going to make it back as farmers. They put up oil wells, drilled for oil, and made millions and millions and millions. So this man had been sitting on this property, barely squeaking out an existence, when underneath him was this infinite wealth. We are required to expand what it is we believe is possible for us, to look beyond our current circumstance and recognize that God is abundance, that the idea of bounty is everywhere. So we want to open our minds and hearts. We play a game of limitation and lack. We play a game of not enough. We play a game of, oh, poor little old me, what can I create? The reality is that we are the Christ. What was it that Jesus did? As the Christ, he turned water into wine. He walked on water. He calmed the seas. He fed the multitudes. How did he do that? How did he walk on water? Well, for starters, he got out of the boat. He obviously believed it was possible. And because he believed it, he made it his reality. Okay? The journey that we are on is absolutely infinite. It could be anything we want it to be, but we have to want something more than what we currently might have. We may be looking at our bills. We may be looking at COVID-19. We may be looking at problems in our community, gun violence and car accidents and whatever's going on. And we can look at all those things, and we can focus our attention so intently on those things that we create incredible suffering within ourselves. Oh no, I have to stay home. This is the most horrible thing ever. Well, what if we have to stay home and we go, wow, isn't this awesome? I've been wanting a vacation. Didn't expect to get it this way, but hey, I'll take it. when we begin to look at things from the idea of enough rather than less than, when we open our minds to the idea that something great is happening here, rather than going, this is a problem, we begin to shape our experience in a brand new way. So for example, in the Bible, it says, in the beginning, the Word, and the Word was with God. When we take a look at the thinking that we have and recognize the words we're using, the thoughts that we're thinking are blocking and stopping us, and not just us, but everyone around us as well. We are limiting the expression of humanity by buying into smallness, by buying into limitation, by having absolute faith that there just isn't enough to go around. Absolute faith that, this world is just terrible and awful. What if we change that? What if we change that? What if we sat back today and went, you know what? I live in an abundant, beautiful, loving, fabulous world. And I know that every single man, woman, and child on this planet is a cell, let's say a cell within the universal one. And each cell has a specific duty or responsibility, just like in the body, right? My brain cells will do one thing, and my lung cells will do something else, and my skin cells will do something else, but they all have a job, right? So I can't just go, well, let me take my lungs out because I don't really need those cells. So I'll just, get rid of that. Well, we know that wouldn't work, right? All of the cells are essential in order to create the human being. If we look at the universe and we say, okay, every single man, woman, and child on the planet is a cell in this one thing. And every one of those cells has a specific responsibility, right? Every one of them has a little something that they do that only they can do in the way that they do it, but it is essential to the wholeness of this universe. If we began to look at life in the world like that, we would begin to shift our perspective about the value of every single man, woman, and child. We would begin to see our own worth, knowing that what I do in the way that I do it, I'm the only one who can do that. That's how God created us, each and every one of us, and then put us in a universe of infinite possibilities, a place where everything is possible if we would just open our mind to it. So we want to look beyond the problem, beyond the situation, and ask ourselves, what would I like to see instead? Well, instead of COVID-19 and having to stay home and homeschool our kids and all the rest of it, what I'd like to see is a healthy, vibrant community where we could get together and hug again. Miss those hugs. So we want to create that. How do we create that? We envision in our mind health. Okay, we begin to talk about health. We begin to know that there is a way, that there is a solution, that there is a vaccine or whatever. There is something that can be done that will clear this up and allow us to get into life in a brand new way. Not to go back to what we were, but rather to move forward into something even greater. The interesting thing about COVID-19 is it kind of leveled the playing field. There is no man, woman, or child on the planet exempt from this flu virus. We all could get it. It doesn't matter if you're the president or the prime minister, or if you're the guy down the street. There is enough of this virus to go around for all of us. And so for the first time in history, everybody's working together to try and create a change, try and create a healing. What if we take that a step further and recognize the value of each life to the degree that we go, this day, I am going to create something beautiful, not just for me, but for everyone. Every good that is for me is only good for me if it's good for everyone. Okay? Every single person must benefit from each of the things that we think, say, and do. We never want to take from life. We always want to give into life. And we do that by giving our own unique talents and gifts and using that as a way to expand the bounty of the universe. He says in the book, he says, if the law determines your supply and position, okay? If the law determines your supply and your position, then no one but the law, capital L, can change it for you. So if God is all abundant, that's the reality. If you choose not to receive it, that's up to you, but you can change that. He said, if you will realize this and keep it constantly in mind, you will begin to see the law at work. If the law has another position for you, there will be a door open before this one can close. Go back to your work and ignore the rumors. So he was sharing a story in here where a bunch of staff were worried about layoffs, right? And they were all frantic about these layoffs. And the one guy goes, you know what? I'm not going to focus on the layoffs. I'm going to focus on doing the best job possible. I'm going to keep my mind open that I am working, that I'm doing this all the time, that I am prospered in all ways. Always. And what was interesting in this particular story is that he was the one person they kept on, and he even got a raise because he was doing more than he'd been doing before. So he kept his mind focused on, no, I'm not going to buy into the fear. I'm going to live from a place of possibility. Where in our lives are we giving up possibility for fear? And that's what we want to change. That's where we want to get back to the idea that God is within me, being me. God is all powerful. God is all knowing. Whatever the way is to get through, it's already known. It's already known. We might not know it consciously yet, but if we will open our minds and hearts, we will know it soon enough. He says, if we love the law or God, use the law to gain supply and use it wisely, we will satisfy every desire. We will learn how to live wholesomely, freely, and wisely, and there will be no losses. Our lives will be as complete as God, the law, designed them to be. What are we told? To live life and live it abundantly. What would be required for that to happen? There's so many times when we look at life and we think there's all this limitation and stuff, and we begin to buy into it. Or we're watching the news all the time. Man, you watch the news every day, it's depressing. All the stuff that's going on. I watch it maybe once a week. That is more than enough to knock me down a peg or two. And then it's like breathe into that and see it as a prayer request. Florence Shinn gives a clear example in her book, The Game of Life. She tells of a man who was seeking a new position and having a limited amount of money was debating in his mind whether to buy a new coat or to hold tight to the money in case he was long in getting employment. He was advised to buy the coat, and it was an expensive fur coat. This reduced his bank account considerably, but it increased his confidence and stimulated his faith to such a degree that his prospective employer caught the spirit of it and gave him a splendid job. So he began to believe, right? It wasn't that he just went and spent a bunch of money going, oh no, now I'm going to be in trouble because I spent this money. No, he chose to believe that God was supplying him, that his bounty came from God, that there was no lack in the universe. So as he was able to put on this great new coat, he felt better. And because he felt better, he presented himself better. As a result of that, he got the work he was looking for. He writes in here that every individual has a natural right to a full supply of every good that he can use or enjoy. Now, every one of us has different needs. Every one of us has different desires about the things that we want or how we can give into the world or what we want to take from it. And what we want to remember is that every single thing that we desire, we can create. And we want to create, we take the energy of life and we allow it to transform and transmute into that which we desire. The journey that we're on is so filled with possibility and potential, and yet we pretend it isn't. There's I don't know if I shared this before, but probably have. There was a college that took their basketball team and said, 30% of you are going to, or 1/3 of you are going to go and practice every day. 1/3 of you are going to do nothing for the next month. And 1/3 of you are going to visualize, but never touch a basketball for that 30 days. Now, it's interesting to see that, the guys who practiced every day, yes, they improved by 24%. The ones who did nothing, they decreased in their skills. right? They got a little rusty. But the ones who visualized but didn't practice, their skills almost matched perfectly with the ones who practiced every day. Why is that? We look at something like that and we go, wow, isn't that magic? No, that's just the way the universe works. If I can see it in my mind, I can have it. If I can see, the mind is the builder of the body, right? Not just the physical, body that I live in, but also my experience and my world, right? So mind is building it. If I will focus my mind on all good, if I will make sure that my mind is stayed on love, stayed on God, if I will live that way, when I remove doubt and fear and choose courage and strength and possibility instead, what happens is doors open. The way is made clear that I can begin to experience something bigger and better. What is it that I desire in life? And can I create a focus that assures that it will come to me? Now, we tend to go, yeah, I want this, I want this, I want this, and then it doesn't happen in 4 minutes. So we go, oh, well, it must not be God's will, and we go on to something else. And so we have this back and forth happening that keeps the universe dizzy. How can it possibly help us to manifest something when we're changing our mind every few minutes, right? We have to sit back and go, what is it that I really, truly desire? And know that you can have that. You can have it. We're meant to live abundantly. We're meant to live in just the fullness of life. He says at the outset, let us realize that the material world in which we live in is a sphere of effects, and that behind these effects is a world of causes. And where do the causes come from? Mind. Okay, I begin to think an idea, I begin to look for some possibility, and all of a sudden I get ideas, right, on what I could do or how I could do it, ways that I could change it, things that I could do to expand it. So this is what we're looking for. He says, recognize when you desire any particular effect, it is because that specific good is already in existence in the sphere of causes. Then recognize that when you desire any particular effect, this desire is an appearance of an underlying cause. So we begin to see something else happening because we had an idea. He says this is a principle upon which our definition of the law of supply is based. And when you learn how to operate it in the proper manner, you will be able to draw into your life more and more of the good in whatever form you may need or desire. The ideas that we hold, the vision that we have for our life, the possibilities that are there for us are only limited by our own perceptions of what we believe we can create or have or experience. All right? No one is saying, right, that you can't do this or you can't do that. If we believe them, we get to be right. But if instead we look at the universe and we look at our life and we look at God and we go, God is good all the time. God is all powerful. God is everywhere present equally. And what we recognize is when we get that intellectually and then practice it and begin to experience it, we begin to see that if I can imagine it, I can create it. If I begin to focus my attention on the infinite supply within the universe, I begin to draw that to me. When I believe there is enough, there will be enough for me. When I believe there's enough for all, and enough of us believe that, there will be plenty for all. In what ways are we willing to share? In what ways are we willing to look at life and go, yes, I'm willing to give into it? We look at people like Mother Teresa, right? Who gave and gave and gave and gave. Why would she do that? And interestingly enough, working with the people that she worked with, she didn't really get sick or anything. How come? She was living from her purpose, her life purpose. Every one of us knows what our purpose is. And I know you might go, I don't know what mine is. Well, you might not know it here, but you do know it here. And if you don't know it here, it's because you're telling yourself you don't know it here. If instead you breathe into it and go, I'm a part of an infinite dynamic universe. I have a particular skill set that is essential to the unfolding of the universe at this time to create harmony, love, peace, abundance, joy, health, vitality. I just need to live it fully and completely. And if we will listen, we will be guided and directed to discover, to remember what it is that we do in a way that nobody else can. The journey that you're walking is personal. We keep looking to people outside of us to tell us how we should live. They don't know. They don't know because they don't know who you are. Each one of us is essential to the harmony, love, peace, and joy of our universe today. Each one of us is essential to ensuring that happens. If any one of us fails to give into life, we impact everything. And for each one of us who gives our gift into life, we impact everything and everybody. We need to begin to see our potential, to see the possibility that our life holds, and then begin to share that openly, honestly, continuously. We need to see the value. And here's where we get caught up sometimes, because the thing that is ours to do is so easy for us to do. It's so simple that we go, anybody could do that. No. I guarantee you'll meet people who go, I could never do that. I wouldn't want to do that, right? I like speaking and, giving sermons and praying with people and doing all this kind of stuff, right? But I know people who are deathly afraid to speak in front of a group. Why? It's so simple. Why would you be afraid of it? Right? We all know how to talk. Why would I be afraid of that? Every one of us has a little different something that we bring, and it's important that we bring it, right? Not everybody is as funny as Shemrai. He was very funny on Friday night, right? Doing all manner of silliness. We had so much fun. The idea of life and living is, can I just show up? Can I show up as me? Can I trust that God created me perfect, whole, and complete, that God created me in its image and likeness? And if it did, can I believe, even momentarily, that how I was created serves a divine purpose here and now, that I'm not here by accident. I'm here by divine appointment. I'm here to create something in the universe that will create love and harmony, peace and joy for all of humanity. And how do I do that? I don't honestly know, right? All I know is I can show up every day being me. And in doing that, something will result. And when I get to my end days, whenever they are, I might look back and go, oh, so that's what it was. A little bit like Nelson Mandela when he was like, I never did anything special. I just did what was in front of me. If each one of us would just do what's in front of us, if each one of us would believe in our own value and worth, we would begin to see the infinite supply of the universe responding to us in kind and according to our own personal desires and needs, because it's different for everybody, right? Every single person looks at it differently. So sometimes when we look at abundance and stuff, we think about money. And yes, money can be part of it, but it's not all of it, right? It's not the only thing. Money is valuable because it's our form of exchange, right? I need a service, I give somebody some cash, they give me the service, or I need products or things, right? I give them some money and they give me those products. So it's a form of exchange. Many of us are really good at barter, aren't we? Like, we're happy to barter with somebody. If somebody has something that we need and we have something that they need, we're like, hey, let's exchange. This is awesome. And yet we don't have the same energy around money. And what is money? Simply barter. Instead of me giving you a goat and you giving me, 2 chickens, I give you a goat and you give me $100, right? It's just barter. It's just exchange, right? And we need to begin to look at money from a new vantage point. And if we would do that, we would be more greatly prospered. The only reason we experience a tightness or a limitation within our finances is because we've got some kind of idea around money that is not the truth. Money is merely God in our financial affairs. And because it's God, it's good. And some of us want lots of money, and some of us want a little bit of money, and some of us are happy with, just kind of getting enough to get by. Wherever we are is absolute good, right? We just need to remember that God is right here being me. That money is the activity of God in my financial affairs. There's nothing magical or mystical about it. It is merely a way to barter. In this day and age, that's a little bit simpler because it's easier to carry around a change purse or a debit card than it is to, haul your goats and cattle around. Okay, so we look at how we're doing this, right? How we look at life. Our perspective is everything. If we believe it's difficult, hard, bad, wrong, we get to be right. Remember in the book of Genesis, God says, whatever you name a thing, that will be its nature for you. Okay, so if I name money bad, odds are I'm going to continually struggle where money's concerned. Not because money's a struggle, but because I've decided for me that money is a problem. And God is a very exact God, right? The principle is exact. It is a law. Whatever you believe will be true for you. So the bonus is we get to be right. We like being right, don't we? So if we believe that the universe is limited, basically God's going, all righty, no problem. For you, it is limited. And yet somebody else is experiencing incredible bounty and they're not doing anything. They're not even working for it. It's just been handed to them, all this money. And we think, how is that fair? It's just consciousness. It's simply consciousness. Everything in life comes from an idea in mind. Ask yourself, what is it I believe about life? What is it I believe about God? Do I believe God is limited? Do I believe that I am limited? Well, if God is right here being me and I'm experiencing limitation, I must have put a crink in the conduit so that the flow couldn't happen. God didn't keep it from me. I kept it from myself. The beauty, the goodness, the love that I want to experience, the respect, the kindness, whatever it is, I can have it. But I have to believe that I can have it. And this is why it's so important to shut the news off. Not so you don't know what's going on. We need to know what's going on. And believe me, somebody will tell you. You don't have to watch the news to get the news. Any big story, somebody's going to call you up and say, did you hear what happened? You will get the information. But being bombarded with a 24-hour news cycle creates fear, and fear causes destruction. We have to let go of that fear and begin to know that, yes, there are problems in the world today, but I cannot solve them from the level they were created or from the consciousness that created them. I must solve them from a new, higher possibility, a new idea. So when I see a problem out there, I go into prayer. Okay, God, I know there's a way. Show me, lead me, guide me. I open my mind and heart to new ideas. I choose to be teachable, to be present, to recognize God is all powerful. So I look at the situation, I go, God is right here. God is right here in this situation. Show me what is needed. Show me what is next. Show me what to do. And each day I take a step. Each day I show up and I do what's in front of me to do. And by doing that, something happens. A transformation. Something big occurs or something little occurs, but something happens. I invite you to get into your life. I invite you to get into it so fully and completely with such passion and purpose that you begin to change the focus, the direction, the entire way the universe is unfolding right now. You change it simply by your attention to it. Look at somebody like Rosa Parks, who had tired feet and went, I'm not walking to the back of the bus. I'm too tired. That sparked a change. She didn't set out to spark a change. She set out to rest her tired feet and her tired body. And that made a difference. Sometimes it is one moment in time that begins to turn the entire axis of everything that's going on. What is it that you stand for? What is it that you believe in? And what is it that you're willing to do, to be, to have in your life beginning right here and now? Are you ready to live to your fullest? Are you willing to see the universe as abundant, bountiful? Are you willing to recognize that that bounty, that abundance is right here where you are and that you have full access to it? That you can create love and peace and harmony, joy and light, prosperity and goodness, health, vitality, love, all of it. And you can create it right here, right now. It begins in mind. I invite you today to take a look at the bounty of the universe and to remember it moment by moment. He says, in truth, people embody every law of nature relating to its highest welfare and orderly growth. We are not therefore separated from any good thing we may need to enhance our happiness or further our progress. But whether we shall lack or possess that which we need or require will be largely determined by the use we make of this present endowment of intelligence and power. The more we grow in true knowledge and the more we use our powers in constructive ways, the more good we will create in the circle of our expression and in our own little world. And as we do that, it shifts the entire world. For every one of us who makes a shift in consciousness, the ripple goes out through all consciousness everywhere. We truly are the conduit for change, and we can create beauty, harmony, grace, and love right here, right now, by being exactly who God created us to be. You are the light of the world. Be that. God bless.
Not by might,
You called us out of the darkness, into your love, into your light. Grace upon grace, beauty for ashes. You come to us, we come alive. We stand in awe of you. We stand in awe of you. Not by might, not by power, by your Spirit, God. Send your Spirit, God. Not by might, not by power, by your Spirit, God. Send your Spirit, God. Not by might, not by power, by your Spirit, God. Send your Spirit, God. Not by might, not by power, by your Spirit, God. Send your Spirit, God. Breathe, come and breathe on us. Spirit, breathe, come and breathe on us. Breathe, come and breathe on us. Spirit, breathe, come and breathe on us. Breathe, come and breathe on us. Spirit, breathe, come and breathe on us. We stand in awe of you. We stand in awe of you. Oh, yes, we do. We stand in awe of you. We stand in awe of you. Not by might, not by power, by your Spirit, God. Send your Spirit, God. Breathe, come and breathe on us. Spirit, breathe, come and breathe on us. Breathe, come and breathe on us. Spirit, breathe, come and breathe on us. Not by might, not by power, by your Spirit, God. Send your Spirit, God. Not by might, not by power, by your Spirit, God. Send your Spirit, God. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I'll tell you, amazing, amazing job, Voices of Praise. It's so beautiful to listen, to have Richard playing piano, and to begin to see and hear all of you. You are such a gift to us. So very, very grateful. And I just want to recognize that this choir, we're going to continue. We're going to find a way of continuing to have the choir present, and we'll be recording more music shortly, working on creating the distancing that we need to do, etc. Well, at this time, it is that time when we give back of our good, and I want to invite you as we send the virtual basket around to join with me in saying our offering blessing. Together, please. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. All is well, and so it is. And so there's many ways you can donate to Verity, which is such a great thing. And I just want to say thank you, because money has still been coming in. We've still been able to pay our bills. And I'm so very grateful that the board, the members, the volunteers, the participants, that everyone is so committed to this idea that even without our fearless leader standing in front of us every week, we are able to continue moving forward and hold that vision, the vision that Reverend Evan had and has, and we continue to watch it grow and expand. So for that, I'm truly grateful. So for our tithes and offerings, you can give online. You can go to veritycenter.org, click the donate link, and it will take you to PayPal, and you can donate that way. You can also send in an e-transfer. I like e-transfers the best because then Verity doesn't pay any fees whatsoever. So the e-transfer gets sent to admin@veritycenter.org. And of course, you can mail in a check. You can send that to 447 Vaughan Road in Toronto, M6C 2, P as in Paul 4. So we thank you for your generous gifts, and let us join together as we bless this offering that we are receiving and bless this time together. I know that divine love is right here, and that the glory of God is made manifest as each one of us shows up doing our very, very best. As we stand in truth, as we stand in power, and as we stand up to anyone who would limit our forward motion or growth, it is truly a divine and blessed act. So I know today and every day that this journey that I'm on is absolutely essential and important, that all that is needed and necessary is fully realized right here, right now. For this and so much more, I say thank you. Receiving this blessing and watching it grow, I say thank you, thank you, thank you, God. And so it is. And let us close with the prayer of protection, and then we'll have one final song by the Voices of Praise. Together, please. God as light surrounds me, God as love enfolds me, God as power protects me, God as presence watches over me. Wherever I am, God is. I am one with the one, and so it is. And now the Voices of Praise.
God's love is deep within me, ever satisfying my soul. God's love is deep within me, ever satisfying my soul. God's light is deep within me, ever satisfying.